This is Gemara Baba Kama Daf Nun Gimel of the learning for this month. The month of Teves has been generously sponsored as an incredible Schos Aliyas Neshama Far Yaleib Ben Yaakov B'siyata Shemaya. The learning of the entire Chabura should bring Aryeh Ben Yaakov to an incredible and high place in Gan Eden Shel Amhayla. We're holding on the last line of Nun Beis Amid Beis, in which we continue discussing the second half of the Mishnah. The second half of the Mishnah discussed that if there was a sound and the sound propelled the animal to fall forwards, then the Baal Habar is chayiv. If the animal fell backwards into the bar, then the Baal Habar is pater. Says the Gemara, Amarav lefanav mamish, lacharov mamish. Says Rav, what does lefanav mean? What does lacharov mean? Says Rav, mamish, lefanav or liacharov. That it's literally falling forwards or falling forwards on the animal's face and falling backwards on the animal's back. Vizeh, and both this and that, the Mishnah is teaching us is bibar, where the animal falls into the bar. And the Mishnah is teaching us that if someone digs a bar, he's only chayiv if when the animal falls into the bar, it falls in face forwards. However, if the animal falls backwards, and therefore, why would he die? It sounds like the difference here is if it falls forwards, it's due to the hevel, it's due to the air in the pit. Therefore, the Baal Habar is chayiv. If it falls backwards and dying, we're assuming it has more to do with the chavata, has to do with the impact of the animal falling on its back, and then the Baal Habar would be pater, as that's not something that the Baal Habar was supposed that the Baal Habar necessarily had to be concerned with. Says the Gemara, and where does Rav get this din from? Rav l'tamei. Rav is going according to his reasoning. That what does Rav hold? That Rav says, Amar Rav on the top line of the Gimel Amud Aleph, Bar shechayv l'avtar lahavloi v'loi lechavotoi. That why is one obligated for bar, for the hevel, for the air, and not for the chavata, and not for the impact. And therefore, if the animal only died due to the only died due to the impact, what was the impact? The impact was that the animal fell on its back, and thereby the animal had an issue. That's why the animal died. Then the Baal Habar would be pater. And of course, if Rav l'taimei, then of course, who do we have arguing? We have Shmuel. And Shmuel Amar, on the third line of Nun Gimel Amud Aleph, Bebar bein l'lefana bein l'achrav chayiv. Says Shmuel, no, if it falls into the pit, it doesn't make a difference. If it was on its face, it was on its back. Either way, the Baal Habar is chayiv. Why? Because also Shmuel l'taimei, according to his reasoning, Damar lahevlai v'kol shekain. So the question is, according to Shmuel, what is the din in the Mishnah? Ella lishmuel ella hechi dami. What's the case of the Mishnah according to Shmuel? Acharov. What does it mean where the animal fell backwards and therefore the Baal Habar is pater? Mikola kriya, where the animal, mikola kriya, the pater. What case is the animal falling backwards due to the sound of the digging in the Baal Habar is pater? Kigain, for example, says the Gemara, Diniskal bibar, the animal tripped in the bar, Vinafal achayre bar, and it fell backward over the pit, and chutz lebar, it does not fall into the pit. It trips on the pit, falls backwards and gets damaged. That's the case which Shmuel holds would be pater, because according to Shmuel, in either scenario, if you fall into the pit, you are chayiv. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol. So our classical machlokes, Rav and Shmuel, whether Rav says you're only chayiv for the hevel for the airspace, and Shmuel says you're chayiv both for the hevel and for the chavata and for the baying of the animal into the pit, is going to be the machlokes how to learn pshat in our Mishnah. So Isvei, the Gemara says Kashan Rav Bibar Bin Belafanim Bin Acharov Chayiv. It says explicitly Bibar, if it falls into the bar, Bin Belafanim Bin Acharov Chayiv. Says the Gemara, Tiyufta de Rav, it's a kasha on Rav. Amar Rav Chista, Maida Rav, Bebar Birshu Soy. Rav is Maida Bar in his own Rishos, the Chayim Shem Amar Lei. The reason is because the animal owner can tell him Imanashach. If it died due to the hevel, it's your hevel because it's in your Rishos. It's yours as well because you own the ground. It's in your rishos. In this case, you're going to be chayiv in both scenarios. Rabba argues in Rabba Amar Hachamayaskina b'mishapech denafala ape. Says Rabba, even according to Rav, we can be discussing if the animal dies in rishos Arab. The case is, the animal flipped over the nafal. And first of all, in its face is hapech, and it flips over the nachlag abe, and it falls onto its back. This is going to be the case that Rav is going to be discussing. In this case, the balabar is going to be chayiv even though it falls onto its back. Why? Because in this case, even Rav will be maskim. Rav will be maskim. There's nothing to do with the hevel. And therefore, in this case, the animal, even though it went backwards, the halach is going to be that it's going to be chayiv. Why? In this case, one more time. In this case, he's going to be chayiv. But in a case where it just stam falls backwards, in that case, it's 100% there is no hevel, and that's where Rav said it will be potter. Rav Yosef Amar, a third way of explaining, we're dealing with the flip side in this brisa, that the shar damaged the bar when it fell in. My nihu, what does that mean? Shehevish as meimov. That the case is that the shar made the mayim in the bar disgusting. In that way, meaning the damage is the reverse, where the shar is damaging the bar. That case, whether it's a fun of la'achara mechayev, the bal hashar is going to be chayev. So after we had a kasha and Rav, we answered up with 3 terutzim for Rav. Now, Tani Rav Chidna l'seyuah Rav Chidna comes along and says, I'll bring you a raya to Rav from the pasuk that says, V'nafal, shar chamar falls into the pit, Bal habar yishalim. And from here we darshan says, Rav Chidna, ad sheyibol derech nifila. What does it mean? Ad sheyibol, it means that the only way he's chayiv is if it falls the normal way. Derech nifila. Mikan amru, and this is the source, says Rav Chidna, which is the raya to Rav. Nafal lefanav mikol akriya chayiv la'achayra mikol akriya potter. V'zeh, and both of these cases are bebar, a clear raya to to the opinion of Rav. Continues the Gemara. So again, we had a din in the Mishnah. We had a machlokes Rav and Shmuel and explained the din in the Mishnah. We had a kasha and Rav with 3 terutzim, and we had a raya to Rav. Continues the Gemara about 15 lines in the Y lines. The first word line is Hakriya Amar Mar. Now let's delve a bit deeper into the din in the Mishnah. Said the Mishnah, if it falls forwards, then the balabar is chayiv. Ask him, why is the balabar chayiv? Why don't we say that the one that was digging nearby, it was the sound that scared this shar, it caused it to fall? So maybe he should be chayiv. Amar Rav Sibarashi, Amani Rav Nosani, Damar, Balhabar. Rav Nosan holds that even if the reason the animal falls is not on its own, but rather due to a third party, Balabar, Hezika Ka'avit Lamaisa, it was the bar that did the damage. Therefore, the Balabar is going to be chayiv. In our case, therefore, since you could not collect from the one digging, you collect from the Baal Habar. De Tanya, the Raya of Rav Nosan's din. Shar shedachav is chaver labar balashar mechayev if a shar pushes another shar into the bar. What's the halacha? The balashar, the pusher, is chayev. Balabar potter. That's the Tanikama. But Rav Nosan Aimer, who we're looking for, Bal Hashar Mishalim Mechsa, or Balabar Mishalim Mechsa. Tanya. And now it's not a kasha, it's another raya. Tanya, Rav Nosan Aimer, Balabar Mishalim Gimel Chalakum Balabar Revia. So how do we reconcile these two prices? Is the Balabar and the Balashar paying 50-50? Or is it 75-25? Says the Gemara, Loikasha, ha bitam, ha bimud. If it's talking about a tam, that's where it's going to be 75-25. If it's going to be a muad, then it's going to be 50-50. Says Gemara, bitam, maika savar. What's going on in the case of the tam that ends up being 75-25? Ika savar, haikule. If you tell me that the shar that pushed is called it 100%, and the bar that did damage is called 100%, so now that the shar is a tam, they each should pay half. Vika savar, and if on the flip side you hold that no, and if you're going to tell me that no, really, each contributed to half of the damages in the first white line, then Balabar Mishalim Palga Balashar Revia. Then it should be that the Balabar pays half because it did half damages. Now the Balashar, because it's a tam, pays half of that half, 25%. Ve'edach Revia Mafsid. And he loses 25%. So where do you get that the split is 75-25? Amar Rava explained to Rava Rav Nosan Dayanahu. Rav Nosan was a judge, and it went to the depth of the din. Really, Rav Nosan holds that each one did full damages. And you're going to ask that each one should pay half if each one did full damages. What does your shutfis help me? Lamaisa, the shar is a top. Therefore, what? If I did damage on my own, the balashar only has to pay 50%. And therefore, I get bumped down to 25%. However, therefore, the balabar has to pick up the slack. Vibai same another shot. Or I could tell you that each one did half damages. Balabar, Mishalim Palgo, Balashar, Mishalim Ravia. If each one did half, then the split should be 50-25. Why are we saying that the split is 75-25? Vedach Ravia Nafsid. What's the reason? Says the Gemara in Aviba Yisema, second Shan and Rava. Misham da Amar Le. The reason is because he could say to him, Bal Hashar la Balabar as follows. Anatu Rai Bibirach Ashkechei. Lamaisa, I found my shar inside your bar. It's katalase. My de is the lilish talumi mehayech mishalima. My de leslich leshtumi mehayech mishalima mimach. A very similar svara that he says Lamaisa, my shar was found inside your bar. Therefore, the balashar says you killed it. And therefore, whatever the guy that the balashar is going to pay, fine, he'll pay. Whatever he's not going to pay, you, the balabar, because the animal was found dead inside your pit, you have to pick up the slack. And therefore, since the balashar is only going to pay 25%, the balabar is going to have to pick up the slack, and he's going to have to pay this 75%. 5 lines to the bottom. Amar Rava says Rava. A similar case, what happens if an even, a stone, is placed at the opening of the bar shar, v'nitkal ba, and the shar trips on it, v'nafal b'bar, and it falls into the bar. Ban l'machlekes Rav Nosson and Rabbanan. It's going to be the same machlekes between Rav Nosson and Rabbanan. According to the Rabbanan, the Baal HaEven, he caused the axe to fall. He's going to pay the full thing. Whereas according to Rav Nosson, we're going to split it 50-50. Says the Gemara Shkayach Pshita, Ma'udetema, Hasim Udamar Balabar Balashar, Ila Bira Didi, Turididach Avekatole, Avalahacha, Matzi Amarle, no, Balevan the Balabar, Ila Bira Didach, Avna Didi, Mayai, Have Avda. What would have done it out for the stone? What would have happened if there was no bar there? Nothing would have happened. It would never have fallen into the bar. And therefore, therefore he responds, no, if not for the Evan, would never have fallen into the bar. Itmar continues the Gemara as we turn over to Nun Gimel Amid Beis. A similar case, Shar v'Shar Psulei HaMikdashin. The previous case was we had the Shar and we had the Bal Habar. Now we have a similar case that we have the Shar and we have a Shar of Psulei HaMikdashin. Psulei HaMikdashin is a animal or literally something that is puzzle, that is invalid for Mukdashim, for the Beis HaMikdash. So we have two shires, or shvarim in English. We have a shar and a shar of Psulei HaMikdashim. The point that we need to know about Psulei HaMikdashim is that there is a ptur from Tashlumim from the Psulei HaMikdashim, Shenachchu. And then these two animals gored in tandem. They did an act of negicha together. So now you can realize the parallel to the previous case, in which we had the Bala Even and the Bala Bar. We had the Bala Shar and the Bala Bar. The Shar pushed into the bar, the Evan let me to trip into the bar, and the tainas that each one could have, whether the damage would happen without the other one, etc. So over here we have two shvarim doing one act of negicha. The detail that's necessary that we need to know is that the Shar Psulei HaMikdashim has an inherent ptur tashlumim. So says the Gemara, we have a machlekes as to what the din is in this case. Second line in Gimel and Beis, Abaya Amar Mishal Chatzi Nezik. Says Abaya that the Baal Hashar pays Chatzi Nezik, and the other Chatzi Nezik he loses because the Shar Psulei HaMikdashim doesn't have to pay. And Ravina Amar Mishalem Ravia Nezik. Says Ravina, no, he pays 1 quarter, and therefore the other guy loses 3 quarters, 25%. So now, says the Gemara, that's a machlek as Abaya and Ravina as to what is the chiyuv of the Bal Hashar. Again, the shar of the regular owner and the shar of the Psulei HaMikdashim. Shar of the Psulei HaMikdashim does not have to pay. So the shar of the regular owner, does he have to pay half or 1 quarter? Says the Gemara, ha veha bitam. Both are referring to a case where the regular shar was a tam. Ha kirabanan, the ha kiramnasan. So says the Gemara, this is mamishar machlekes. Ha kiraban Ravina says that you pay a quarter is like the rabbanan that you have to only pay half. Ha kiramnasan, whereas Abaya is going with Rav Nasan, and therefore you would have to pay whole, which is half. Says the Gemara, really, they're both going within the shita of the Rabbanan. Habatam habamuri. K'diam your third shot. Abaya amar chatzi nezek. Ravina amar kula nezek. So this ikadiamri, excuse me, is not a third shot. Another lashon into what is the machlekes Abaya and Ravina. Abaya says that the regular shar pays chatzi, and Ravina says no, he pays full. Now you can anticipate what the Gemara is going to say right now. Says the Gemara, ha b'ha muad. Now we're pumping it up. Ha kraban ha kram nasan. Ibay say ma ha kram nasan ha b'muad ha b'tam. Again, a machlekes paralleling our machlekes of damages happening in tandem and how we would apply the dinim of the Rabbanan and Rav Nasan in this din. Says the Gemara, Amar Rava, let's up the ante a little bit. Says Rava, what if we have 3 people that contribute to damage? Shar ve'adam shedach voy lebar. So we have Shar and Adam that push into the bar. So again, in Amud Aleph, we spoke about the Shar, or we should say the Even into the bar, the Shar into the bar. Now we have Shar and Adam together pushing into the bar. Says the Gemara, with regard to damages, kulan, I don't know what just happened to my highlighter. Let's get it back. There we go. Le'enin nizikin, with regard to damages, what's the halacha? Kulan chayav. All three of them, the shar, the bar, and the adam are chayiv. Le'enin arba dvarim. With regard to the four items you have to pay for damages to a person, udeme vladais, and the value of the vladais, if the person that was pushed was a pregnant woman and the vlad was lost, adam chayiv vishar ubar pater, as a shar and bar has an inherent patur from dalat varim and demei vladais. Linyan kaifer ushleishim shalevet, and here we're going to have a good chazar of all the dinim that we've learned. Kaifer, which is when a person is killed by another person. Shleishim shalevet, when an Eved is killed. Then shar chayiv, as those are special payments for a shar. Admu bar pturim linyan kalim. What's halach with kalim? Shar upsulei miktashim linyan kalim. Linyan kalim. 1 second. What just happened? Says the Gemara. Sharub Sulayam Mikdashim. I lost my place. Yeah. Le'inyan Kalim or Le'inyan Sharub Sulayam Mikdashim. Meaning, we on the top of the Amud, let's not get confused, like I just confused myself. On the top of the Amud, we discuss a Sharub Sulayam Mikdashim doing the damages. Here we have these three people damaging. Again, Shar, Bar, and Adam. So with regard to damages that they did to Kalim, or with regard to damages that they did to a Shar, Psuli HaMikdashim, Adam Vishar Chayavim, Ubar Potter, and Bar is going to be Potter. So says the Gemara, we had a whole list of dinim now. My Taima. What is the din? My Taima specifically is going to hone in on this last din of the Shar Psule HaMikdashim. Amar Kra says the Torah of Hameis Yiheh Loi, says that the Torah that when someone puts another animal into a pit, in the case of Tashlumim, Hameis Yiheh Loi, we discussed this all the way back to the beginning of the Masechta. Whenever you pay for the damage, the killing of another shar, you get to keep the dead carcass. From here we darshan b'mi shamei shalai. Someone who gets to keep the carcass, that's when you have to pay. Yatzazah, the case of shar p'tulei mikdashim is excluded. Shein hameis shalai. Whereas in that case, he does not get to keep the mace, the carcass, as it belongs to Beis HaMikdash. And therefore, you're going to be potter on tashlumim. Says the Gemara, Lemimra. Does this mean that to say Dibshita Leila Rava that it's Pasha to Rava? It's Pasha to Rava that in the case of Shar Psuli HaMikdashim, there is no payments. Vami by Leila Rava. Rava himself asked the Shaila to buy Rava Shar Psuli HaMikdashim Bar Mahu. Asked Rava, what is the din? Haiva Meisi Allah Misha Misha Lo Yatzah Shena Misha Lo. So Rava himself asked it as a shayla. So why are you telling me now that according to Rava, it's pashit? Not. Says the Gemara, Rava himself eventually answered the shayla, and Rava learned out that by a sharp psula and mikdashim there's going to be a patur because you don't get to keep the nevela. Asked the Gemara, so now we go back to the other question that Rava asked. What's the story with the Bailam Metablim ben Avela? Nafkalei says the Gemara min Vamesi Alai Tishar. The pasuk of Mesi Alai is written 2 times. Therefore, you get to learn out the din of Bailam Metablim Avela. Ask the Gemara, how do you know that? My chaz is Mesi Alai Tishar Mafkis Leila Bailam Metablim Avela. V'Mesi Alai Debar Mafsel Misha Misha Alai. Says the Gemara, it's the same pasuk. How do you know which one teaches you which? Says the Gemara, Mistavra, Patur Gabe Bar. Why? We know that a bar has other Pturim, so it makes sense to exempt this as well. Adrabah, Patur Gabe Shar, Patur Bechatzin Ezik. What do you mean? By Shar, there's Pturim as well. Says Mer Kulei Nezik Mi'ala Ashchan. However, we do not find a Ptur entirely by Shar, where we do find a Ptur entirely by Bar. Therefore, it makes more sense with regard to Shar Psula Mikdash to be a Ptur by Bar and not by Shar, and the pasuk by Shar to teach us about B'tayil and Taplan and Avela. Pick it up for the 2 dots the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.